Okay, recording has resumed. Awesome. So I'm really glad that you're able to hop on today. So some of this is probably going to be like, okay, is this like for the crowd or for me? But it'll be kind of a general. But I realized, I think I usually tell people like why I started Mary Kay, but if you only heard it once, you may not, remember. So I figured I'd kind of share like, why did I start Mary Kay? How did that all start for me? So that you kind of know who I am and you know like which parts of my story are like, oh, I identify with that. Um, so I was a full-time teacher. I taught music at a private school as piano teacher, and I enjoyed my students, but I did not enjoy teaching, which is like two different things. I liked the human interaction, but I was not an education major. So I didn't have confidence that the way I was teaching was exactly right. So I felt like I was always kind of like, oh man, I hope I'm not like ruining anybody's child and like they're never going to know how to count and like things. So it was like stressful to me, but it was okay. I did get better at it, but I found that I was like scared to go to work almost, or I didn't look forward to it. I was like, it's fine and I am getting better at it, but I wasn't like enjoying the process and wasn't enjoying the journey. So enter Mary Kay. The end of, I think it was the middle of my first year of teaching, I won a free facial. Back in the day when we were all doing things in person, there were little boxes around town where you could like enter to win a free facial. And I entered on a whim. And Nancy, my now senior director, she was the one that I entered her facial. And at first I was like really nervous because I didn't know her. So like brought my sister with me so that if it looked like it all shady when we got there, that I could like, we would just leave and get ice cream. It was literally our plan. We were like not gonna go inside. So we're like, we don't know her. She sounds cool, seems fine. And then we got there and she had a Mary Kay car in the driveway. We were like, oh, this is legit. You can't like, that's gonna be a real thing. So we went in, fell in love with the products, absolutely loved Nancy. She made us feel so like seen and like she understood our skincare needs, and we were like, oh, this is super valuable. So we just both became great customers. And then Nancy visited the idea with me. She said, hey, have you ever thought about doing something like this? And I really like hadn't. So it's like, no, it's not for me or whatever. And then a couple months later, she was in a contest, or it might not even been a couple months, might have been a couple weeks. She was in a contest to just like share what she did with women. And she said, hey, I will buy you a cup of coffee if you will just listen and help me with my contest. So I wasn't interested in Mary Kay, but I mean, I like Nancy and I wanted her to win her contest. So I was like, I can, for free coffee, absolutely, I can help you with your contest. So I went and I listened and I was intrigued, but I still was just like not sure. I wasn't sure who I'd sell to. I didn't know if I had the time. It was like, all the things that we have to like kind of decide if it's right for us. So I just said, not right now. I kind of meant not ever, but I also kind of was like, but maybe. I mean, I'm not like totally close to it. So then a couple weeks, months, I'm not sure, later, she invited me to this big event they had downtown where it was like all the Mary Kay ladies in the area got together, kind of like our Spark rallies that we do now, but in person. And it was just a really fun event. And I caught the dream. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try. And if it's terrible, I'll sell all my stuff back. Like I had that backdoor exit planned. And then I got in there and obviously I fell in love with doing this. I didn't feel nervous. I was excited to go to work at Mary Kay. I was excited to mentor women. I was excited to, get to learn about these products myself because I loved them. I loved getting my own stuff half price because I knew I was going to be a major Mary Kay junkie. So it was like, oh, the fact that I'm like saving myself this money, that mattered. And over time, I just got better at it. And I was not a natural saleswoman. I think that's important for people to know about me. I was not one of those people where I came in hot and I was having $1,000 weeks. No, my first party, I sold one acne gel, which is $10, and I got no bookings and no referrals, and that was my first party. It was not great. So I had to really learn how to sell and how to get better at it and how to share the opportunity. So I think sometimes when people see that I'm a director, they're like, oh, well, she must have like, this just came naturally to her. Absolutely not. I learned everything I know. I learned it the hard way sometimes or did it wrong a lot. So if you're going, man, I feel like I'm not catching it as quickly as I wanted to, or there's some things where I'm still like not quite there. That is okay because that was me. I feel like I've just learned more and more over my 3 years. And the biggest thing I was always taught was, if you're willing to keep learning and if you're humble enough to like take advice, then it's going to be okay. You're not going to have to be like stuck for long and you're not going to be without help. So as long as you like stay willing to learn and willing to try, you will get where you want to go in Mary Kay. I heard that a lot. I didn't always believe it, quite honestly. I mean, if I'm just being real honest self, someone's like, okay, I don't actually think this is going to work out, but it did. So I have 3 years of proof behind that now. So that's just kind of like my background, my story of it. And when I my contract came up for teaching. That was like a scary time for me. So I was like, okay, do I step out in faith and go full-time Mary Kay? Or do I do like one more year of teaching and keep Mary Kay on the side because of like, I mean, income. At the time, I had not fully replaced my income with Mary Kay. I was pretty sure I could, but I hadn't yet. And I was like, okay, what's the best decision for my family? So my husband and I like, oh man, we talked circles around that thing. Like, do we not? What's better? What is it worth? And we landed on, it was better for me to pursue it full time because I was still on excellent terms with the school I taught at. If it was like terrible, I could go back the next year and teach again. I worked really hard and I did not burn any bridges because I was like, one, I just didn't feel like that was good character. But we just thought, let's just see what this is like for a year. And it was a slow growth for me that year. I'll be honest, it wasn't like as soon as I did Mary Kay full time, I was like full-time income, everything fit in. It was work, it was a journey, but it did give us the opportunity to like, my grandparents came and stayed with us for about 6 weeks to help us remodel. I got to be home for that. So I actually got to like, yeah, I'm the youngest. I've never had one-on-one time with my grandparents, and I got to have all this one-on-one time with them. And it opened up opportunities that weren't just financial. It was opportunities to spend my time in ways that I really wanted to spend my time, but weren't like responsible, weren't possible, when I was teaching. So that's kind of my yes to Mary Kay, like my journey there. And now I do get to make a full-time income. I make just as much, and many months I make more than I did when I was teaching. But it wasn't always about the money, because I feel like you can make money doing anything. And if it's just about the money, then there's lots of options out there. But for me, it was the flexibility on top of that, where I could make the full-time income and get that time with my grandparents. I can make the full-time income and take my dog for an hour-long walk every day because we both need it. I get to choose where I'm spending my time, who I'm spending it with, what my priorities are. And that has been the biggest gift to me. So you guys kind of know like my background, like how did we get from where we were to where we are? So that's kind of some background there, but I wanted you guys to know that so that oh, okay, so when I'm having trouble selling, I can ask Whitney because she's been there. I have real life practice with like, what do you do? And you're like, I also have no one to book. I don't know what to do. I've been in all those places. So I want you to know how relatable I am, because I didn't just, oh, well, I just knew all the right people. I always got it right. Like none of that. So I wanted to be very clear with that. A couple of just basic things I wanted to go over. And a lot of you, you might know all of this already, but I feel like it's good to just say it so that if there's any confusion or anything, it's like, oh, okay, well, she said that they're in training. So the first thing I kind of wanted to go over is just the difference between wholesale and retail. And it's funny, I have still gotten this mixed up in my head sometimes, even though I know it. Sometimes it just like, I don't know, I blanks out there. So wholesale is our half price discount. Wholesale is like what you're getting your bargain price on. We get it all half price. That's our wholesale price. And then retail is the customer price, what we sell it for. So an example of wholesale and retail, when we order wholesale $225 worth of product, that is retail $450 worth of product. So we're getting twice as much as what we pay for. So when a customer orders something from us that costs $20, we keep, like, they pay us the full $20. We take 10 of those dollars and use that to order from the company. The other $10 stays with us and our family. So that's kind of how the wholesale resale part works. And I know sometimes when we're ordering and we're working towards goals or things, you can get like mixed up looking at the numbers up there. And I've done this before. Like, I don't know why, but I think it was a couple months ago I had a moment where I was like doing an order and I got it mixed up. So sometimes it does just like, you have to like rethink it, but that is the difference between wholesale and retail. And then the easiest way to keep track of it, there's multiple options for how to keep track of like what you're selling and do this and that. But one way that I have found works really well for me is sales tickets. So if you got a starter kit, there were sales tickets in there. Some people just started with the eStart and you didn't have sales tickets. That's okay. But if you want to order sales tickets, they're in section 2 on Mary Kay in Touch under ordering, section 2 sales tickets. And on there, there's a place where you can write down every item, the cost of it, and you can keep track of everything that way. You have your customer info, the date that it was. That's a great way to keep track of it. And then you can buy like a little organizer, a little tub from like Walmart or wherever. It doesn't have to be fancy, with little dividers, and you can keep your customers in there alphabetically. Now, if you've gone through Nancy's training in her new consultant training videos on nancydbeckwith.com, she goes over this as well. So this is probably not the first time you've heard about this, but I did want to touch it here. And if you're going, I want more info on that, let me know. If you haven't watched that video, I'll send you the link to it so that you guys can like, oh, that's what you're talking about. That's the easiest way to keep track of that. And that helps me a lot. And then I enter my customer information on Mary Kay in Touch. that is my place where I keep their shipping information, because when you order for them and you're going to ship something straight to them, that's the easiest way to put it, easiest place to put it. So if you go to Mary Kay in Touch, my business, and then about most of the way down, there's my customers, not my customers plus. My customers plus is for your phone. So it's the one that just says my customers. That's where you can go in and add your customer info. The most important things you want in there are their name, their mailing address. If you have their email and phone number, those are both very helpful, but those are like the 4 biggest things to have recorded. There's an option where you can add all the info about like their skincare needs, their color preferences. I don't always fill that part out, quite honestly. So don't feel like it can be overwhelming if you try to fill out everything for every person. So those 4 things, name, address, email, and phone number, those are the biggest things you want on there. And if you don't have all of those, that's okay. It's just as much of that information as you can get. When a customer registers on your website, they are automatically added to my customers on Mary Kay in Touch, which is great because then they put in all their own information. So that kind of saves you a step. So that's like another beautiful thing, because sometimes you'll go on to In Touch and you're like, oh, I have new customers on here because they registered themselves. Okay, the next thing I wanted to go over was weekly accomplishment sheets. Do you know about weekly accomplishment sheets at all, Evelyn? It's okay if you don't. Okay, so I think that's something that Nancy touches in her new consultant training videos. So that's where you can go to find out the details on like specifically how to fill it out. But here's what the weekly accomplishment sheets are. Every week you can fill in a form on Mary Kay in Touch to keep track of your sales, which makes tax season so easy. Because if you keep track of it and just fill it in every week, you'll know, okay, here's how much I sold. Here's how much I if you discounted a product, you list it on there, you'll say I discounted it. So I gave away, if you did 10% discount, maybe you only gave away $1.50, but you can record that so that you know your profit versus your loss. You record sales tax on there. If you do a hostess giveaway, anything like that, if you recruit a new team member, and it'll give you your stats for the whole year. So it makes tax time very, very simple. And that is an important thing to do every week. The Mary Kay week runs Sunday through Saturday. So I tend to fill mine out on Mondays, I think is the day that I usually do it. But if you have to go back and do a couple to like catch up or whatever, I've had to do that too. Quite honestly, I'm not the most organized person. It's not the end of the world, but it will save you so much work at the end of the year on your taxes if you fill those weekly accomplishment sheets out. And they are found under My Business. All the way at the bottom, there's enter weekly accomplishments and enter weekly accomplishments. That's where you'll do that. And Nancy has a video on like what every column is, what you put where, because sometimes the first time you do something, it's like, wait, what do I put here? So that'll give you good training on that as well. And the company, they don't know how much we sell. They only know how much we order. So sometimes when we're trying to like run a contest, we go, okay, well, I didn't sell enough for this. It's really not about how much you sell. It's about how much you order from the company as far as company run promotions. Now, sometimes I'll do a promotion where it's how much you sell, like selling like for a grand day, that's about $100 retail, not about $50 wholesale. So there's sometimes where it'll matter differently, but for the company, if you're working towards something, it's up to you how much you choose to order. If you want to be a sparkler every month, that means you'd order 600 wholesale from the company. So ideally, you're selling about 1,200 in a month in order to keep, use half of that to order and half of that for your family. There are some months where I didn't do that. Like I would sell maybe closer to 800 and I would still choose to do 600 because that was an important goal to me. That doesn't mean that has to be your goal, but the company doesn't know how much they sell. We sell, they only know what we order. So sometimes people go, oh, I didn't sell enough for this. Like, does it still count? It does still count. And if you're going to order products for yourself, that counts towards your sparkler and everything. So it's not necessarily important to the company if you're ordering it for personal use or for a customer. It's just about the general amount. And I think those are important things to know because it's like, I don't know where to classify all of this. So that's the easiest way to keep track of that. Let's see, our website, have you gotten a website order yet? I mean, oh, it's so great. But the first time you get one, it's like, what do I do with this? How do I handle this? So here's what happens when you get a website order. For anyone who hasn't had one yet, or they have and they didn't quite know what to do with it, you will get an email from the company saying that you have a website order. Now there's different settings you can choose for your website, but in general, you'll have to approve the order on your end if you have your settings set like mine. So if you asked me and I helped you set up your website, you'll probably have to go through these steps. Once you get the email, it'll take you to Mary Kay in Touch, and it'll take you to My Customers. So you'll click on the My Orders under My Customers, and then you'll step by step go through and you manually approve the order. If you want to add free samples to that, you can. So it's kind of nice because then you give that extra like level of customer service. And then also, if you need to manually adjust the price, you can as well. So if you told them you're going to do free shipping, that's where you'll go in and change that total. If you are adding, like, say, anybody who orders this much is getting a free eyeshadow, you can go in and add that product to the order, which is why I like to be able to approve all of them. But just so you know, it's not automatically taken care of from the company when someone orders on your website. You will need to go into your email and you'll get an email. So it's not like you're just like, I have no idea if anyone's ever ordered. I don't know where to find that. The other place you can go to find it is to go to Mary Kay in Touch, to My Customers, and then it'll have orders listed there. And if it says 3 orders pending or something like that, then you go, oh, I missed a few, but you can find them there and then work through and approve them. So that's another good thing to know. And if you haven't done a lot of website orders and you're needing help with it or walking through it, I am happy to do that. It took me a couple times through before I totally understood that process. So always feel free to be like, hey, I have a website order. I just need to like, can you walk me through like, how do I add the samples or where do I go to get this all set? I've totally got your back. So that's like, just wanted to throw that out there. Okay, the fourth thing I wanted to cover, that's just kind of like some basic, I don't know, some practical tips about Mary Kay in Touch. Let me check our time. We're doing good. I love it. Okay, I'm proud of me because I usually am too chatty. So, okay, the next thing I want to go over was parties. So we've got a variety of ways you can party right now. There's in person, sometimes really depends on you, how comfortable you are, how comfortable your guests are. Virtual is always an option because your distance. So no matter how nervous someone is, virtual is always a good option. With virtual parties, you've got kind of 2 ways we're doing them right now. You can do a QVC style party. And if you're not already on there, I have a practice party for our unit called the Fearless Unit, I think practice party. There's something because it's very on the nose. But that'll give you an example of what a QVC style party looks like. And QVC, we say that because of the QVC network where they would like just show products on TV and people order, kind of like the home shopping network kind of idea. So all we do on a QVC style party is it's a private Facebook group for your hostess and her friends. And you post pictures and videos. Maybe you go live in there and you post some stuff, but it's just posting pictures, no samples, no products actually physically mailed unless someone orders. So that's one option. It's worked really well. There are tweaks and changes you can make every time you do them, but that's one option that works great. The second option is doing a virtual facial. And Nancy and I are hosting virtual facials every other Thursday. So if you haven't seen one yet, you can hop on. We're doing one tonight. Today is April 8th. If you're watching this a little bit later, we're going to have one every other Thursday. So if you say, hey, I kind of want to watch one before I have guests on, that's fine. We'll keep the recording up for about a week after we do it. So you have a full week to watch the recording. I think we're going to try to get one permanently recorded to be able to share. But even if not, there's a private Facebook group where we do these virtual facials. And that's where we are sending out samples to customers. And then customers are actually washing their faces with us. Nancy and I are the only ones on camera, so your guests don't have to worry about like, not everybody wants to take their makeup off in public, and I respect that. I don't really love doing it either, but it's totally worth it to me to do these parties. But that's another option for you where you can learn by watching us, so you're not going, I kind of want to do virtual facials, but I don't know how. That's a great place to go because you can duplicate it and you can do it yourself if the timing doesn't work for your customers, or if you just say, I just want to do these with me and just my girls. That's fine too. So that's the point of those. So there's a lot of options. And if you go, okay, I kind of want to do these, how do I talk to people about it? We're going to talk about scripts and things like that as we go. But if you're like, I want to know those things today, just let me know. I've got all kinds of stuff saved where I can share it with you and help you get some things on the books. So that's the biggest thing. And then you can also use Zoom to your advantage, like we're doing right now. You can do texting parties. We've done some of those. My mom's done some of those. Those are fun. Texting parties in some ways are easier than QVC style parties because have you ever been on a Facebook party where you got a little lost, like you couldn't find all the posts you're looking for? That can be a little bit tricky on Facebook. Whereas in a texting party, you just scroll back up. So those are a little bit easier to manage as well. And not everyone's on Facebook. So if you have people who they'd like to do a party, but they're not on Facebook or a lot of their friends aren't, texting is a great option because you do all the same posts that you would do for a QVC style party, but you just do a group text. So that's like a third option. So if you want more info on any of those, just let me know because I'll fill you in on the details and I always try to help people with their first one if they want it. So you're not going, I've never done this before and I'm on my own. Either me or my mom, Amy, if you're like in the Future Hope unit, one of us should be available to like help you and coach you and kind of, be your sideline partner while you're learning how to do the things. Okay. And then text the booking scripts. There's like, I'm sorry, I'm like reading my notes right here and I got all mixed up. Evelyn, you are the best to train with because you're so just like, I get it. It's fine. You're doing great. I really appreciate you. But text booking scripts, like there's all kinds of scripts that we have available. A script is just an outline. You need to sound like you. So the script may sound like not you. And if you send it, your friends are going to go, this isn't normal. This isn't real. So the scripts are an outline that you can use. We work hard to have good wording, but you're going to want to tweak it to sound like you. And, one script, you might say this wording works great for my friend Susie, but I think I want to tweak it here for my friend Jenny. Do that. We're real people. We want to sound like real people. We don't want to sound like robots or automated messages. So be genuine with people and don't be afraid to interact with them outside of Mary Kay. In fact, you should. The people that you're working with, like be posting, be commenting on their posts on Facebook, be like interacting with them in real, authentic ways so that when we are talking about Mary Kay, they're not going, oh, she only talks to me when we're talking about business. Because we are very real people. And sometimes we can get so business focused that we forget that we can interact in other ways. So that's just like a side note that'll help you have more success with booking. And then copying and pasting is so great because Mary Kay in Touch has a lot of resources you can use. I try to post stuff in the Fearless unit that's duplicatable. Sometimes I'll like do games or put up silly posts in the Fearless unit. And there's twofold. One, because I love to have fun with you guys, but also just use that in your VIP group. There's no reason not to. There's no like, if I posted it, you can't have it in Mary Kay. Mary Kay Ash used to always say, if I have a good idea and you have a good idea, we both have two good ideas. So whenever you see me post something or one of your sister Mary Kay like consultants post something in their groups or post something you're like, oh man, I wish I could use that in my group, you can. We freely share our resources. If you see something that's successful for someone else, feel free to reach out to them. We are not oh, well, you can't have all my secrets to success in Mary Kay. You can have all of them. I want to give you all of my secrets of success. They're not even secrets. So feel free to use things. And if you say, man, I'm just like not quite sure what to post in my group or I need some ideas, like reach out because my mom and I have saved tons of ideas and we actively work at learning new tips for how to do VIP groups on Facebook, things like that. But another great resource for videos is on Mary Kay in Touch. There's the Video Lounge. Have you used any from there yet, Evelyn? They share a lot on the Mary Kay Facebook group too.
I've seen them and I've noticed they vary in length. And I know we talked, or you've mentioned, or it's been said before that, to watch the length of time for attention spans purposes. So I have yet to actually use them, but I have seen them.
Yeah, that's fair. The nice thing about them is that they're there and then you can pick the ones that resonate with you. There's under Mary Kay in Touch on the Video Lounge, there's something called shareable videos. And I'm with you. Not all of them are my favorite video. So I only share the ones I like because some of them are like 5 minutes long. I'm rarely going to sit through a 5-minute video. If it's about dogs, I might, just because I'm pretty into dogs. But as far as like just watching someone do a makeup look, unless it's live where I'm interacting with them, I may not sit through that. So, like pick the ones that you're excited about because some of them are like a 30-second video about lip gloss. Perfect. That's like the perfect length to me. And another tip is when you're posting something like that, ask a question. Evelyn, I see you do this. So I know this is not like something you're like, what? Like you're already doing that. But a general tip is ask a question, give them a reason to engage. I love doing polls in my group where people can vote on things because sometimes people don't want to type out an answer, but they're like, oh yeah, click, that's the one for me. So use a variety of ways and post stuff that's not Mary Kay in your groups too. You do this very well. And because people, they're there to have fun. They want to enjoy it. And if it's just products and promotional posts, they're going to go, it's just a sales pitch all the time. And that's not what we're trying to do. So that's like a really smart tip there. So the Video Lounge has them. The Mary Kay Facebook page is great. If you're not following them, do, because they post great like 2 or 3 second clips where it's like those boomerangs where it's like the product moving back and forth. I love those. Or they'll have like just the cutest little graphics that you can use. So that's a great resource. And then, use other parties that you were in. If you were a hostess for a party back in the day, go back to that party and say, hey, what did I like when I was a hostess, and put yourself in your customer's shoes, and do things like that. So sharing is caring. Pinterest has cute stuff. Not all of it's great, but I mean, if you just look up Mary Kay hydrogel eye patches, you can find like 100 cute pictures on Pinterest with that. And also on Mary Kay in Touch under digital assets, they have pictures of almost all of the products. So if you want just a good classic, like cute pictures, that's a great place to go for them. So that's like a great place to find resources for what to put on your social media stuff. When you are doing a party, there's a couple of things to focus on. The first thing is selling. Obviously, I don't think anyone's like, what? We sell? I can't believe that. Like everybody, I think we're all on the same page. We're trying to sell some stuff. So that's the first thing, is we're focusing on selling. We're not pushy and weird. We're just like, hey, here's a great product. Here's why I love it. Get your hostess to be your business partner. When you're doing a party, your hostess is your business partner. Have her talk up the products too. And if she hasn't tried a lot of products, send her a sample pack or something so that she has some experience with them. It's a great way to thank her for being your hostess and also get her involved. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing you're going to want to focus on at parties is getting new bookings, because when you get new bookings from your parties, then your business isn't like just stuck, because that can be a tricky thing when you're like, well, I had one party, but now what? So if you can get 1 to 2 new bookings from every party, you'll always have something coming. And it may be that they're more interested in doing like the pampering packet, where they're getting the spa packet with the sample sent to them. Or maybe they say, oh, I just don't know if I could do a Facebook party. But then maybe they're more of a texting party kind of gal. So be flexible when you're doing the bookings. And then also another thing that you're going to want to do at parties is see who's on there that you're like, man, I think she'd be good at doing Mary Kay, and see if she would let you share the opportunity. Now, a great way to share the opportunity, I have a video that you can use where you can share it with them, where I kind of share my Mary Kay story, and it just gets the conversation started. So ask her if she'd be willing to watch this video of your director, and then we'll do a follow-up with her, a 3-way call where it'll be you, me, and your guest. And we're not going to be pushy and weird. We're not Scary Kay. We're just going to ask her some questions like, hey, what resonated with you most? Could you ever see yourself doing this? She may say yes, she may say no. But as we do more of that together, you'll get more comfortable with how to answer questions, how to overcome objections. And then not even long-term, my short-term goal is to get you comfortable enough with sharing about Mary Kay that you don't need to wait for me. But I also know that you need to hear it a couple times to even know what to say, how to have that conversation. So that's why we have the pearls of sharing. It's part of your new consultant like checklist. So a lot of you have already been working on that. But if you haven't like worked on your pearls of sharing yet, that's a great place to start. And the other place we're doing it is coffee and conversations. We do that. We used to do it every Monday, but we found that a lot of times people needed a little more time to get guests. So we're doing it about every other Monday. At 7:15, it'll be after our Monday Night Live event. We do a Zoom chat like this, and you bring your guests, and we just answer questions, share about Mary Kay, and then we give away a $30 e-start at all of those. So that's a great place to invite people who are thinking about it, not quite sure. That's a great thing to say, well, why don't you just come? You might win an e-start. You can hear a little bit more. We keep it low pressure. It's literally a conversation where we just kind of chat about it. So those are 2 great ways to share where you're not going, I don't know what to say. My goal is to help you learn and not be on your own for it. And then the last thing to just kind of know about parties is we do what referrals, and referrals often come from getting the bookings. So we're meeting more people. But it's actually better to have a second booking from a party, like have a party get a booking from that, than it is to have sales. If I were to choose between one party with $500 in sales and then no bookings, or a party with 0 sales and 1 booking, I would choose the party with 1 booking. And I know that feels counterintuitive because but I've got to sell. You do, you absolutely do. So I'm not going to say, no, selling doesn't matter. It does matter. But what matters more is being able to continue your process, be able to continue with the parties. So when you go in with the mindset of like, I am looking for who my next hostess or who my next teammate's going to be, you will find that your business will work more consistently for you than if we just focus on the sales. And if you're going, okay, I'm trying to do booking and I'm really not having success with it, no one's excited about it, like chat with me and let's see if we can tweak what you're saying or tweak the kind of parties you're offering, or kind of figure out who else could we chat with, because I get it. I've had times where it's like no one seems to be interested. It's not quite working. No one's interested in this particular hostess reward I'm offering. So we'll work together and tweak it, because I've been there. So it's not like I don't like, of course it should work. It should always work. Well, sometimes you have to tweak what you're doing. I've had to do that many times. I have had to reinvent myself and reinvent my parties multiple times. So if you're hitting a little bit of a roadblock with that, reach out to me and we'll work together to kind of figure out, okay, let's try this, this, and this, reassess, try this, this, and this until we're finding a good system that's working for you, because your friends are also different than my friends. So just because it works great for me, we might need to tweak it for you until we find your perfect system. So don't feel stuck if you're going, I just can't ever get a booking again. I have felt that. And usually shockingly, when I reach out to Nancy, it would come together because I was getting that second opinion, getting those more ideas. So if that's where you are, no worries, I will work with you. And then the biggest thing to know about parties is the more you do in a row, the better you'll get at them. So if you can get 3 or 4 parties in a month where you're doing like one a week or a couple in a month, you will have much better success. Do we have a little visitor? Who's visiting?
That's my dog.
Aww,
she just wanted to get to the water.
She's like, hey, that's in there and I'm in here. My dog is sleeping on my couch, and you've all heard Oakley. She sometimes interjects her thoughts into our meetings. So I was like real nervous. So like, she's napping now, but will she? And she's still napping. So it's going very well. I know she's the baby of the family. She's a year old, so she's high maintenance, just like a toddler. So I understand that. But really, as you do more parties, you will get better at them. So here's what you need to know. Not every party is going to be great. If you don't know that yet, you will find it out. Not every party is awesome. Sometimes you get no sales and no bookings. I have had that happen. Okay. So it's not you. Sometimes it's just the crowd you have or the timing or whatever, but you won't really know what's working well until you've had a couple parties to practice on. So you have your averages. So don't get stuck or discouraged if you've had 1 or 2 bad parties. I've had those too. And if you stop when it's like not going great, you're going to over time get it in your head that like, you just can't do this. So what I would encourage you to do is, if you've had a couple of those, let me know and let's work together to try something new, try something different, so we can get back on track to go, okay, no, parties do work, but we might have to tweak some things, and that will help a lot. So that is all I have today. Nothing super earth shattering. A lot of this stuff you ladies probably already know, but I mean, the new consultant checklist that you got in your welcome email, that's going to be a great place. If you haven't finished it, that's always a great place to go revisit and go, okay, well, what's left on here? Because all of the things on there are things that will help you get a strong, like cement slab to put under your house that you're building in Mary Kay. That's the cement slab. So if you're not sure what to do, go check your new consultant checklist and go, okay, what's left on here? If you've completed all of that, reach out to me and let's make a strategy for what your next steps are, because I am a forward thinker. So if you go, okay, I've done this, this, and this, I want to go to the next level, I will work with you and we will go to that next level. So I am all about it. And Evelyn, I just want to congratulate you here forever on this recording for being a senior consultant. It's so exciting. I am so excited that Denise chose to work her business with you. It has been a pleasure to get to chat with her on the phone and to get to work with you. You're both just wonderful people. I think you're such strong assets to our team and assets to Mary Kay. They're lucky to have you. And I just wanted to say that because not everybody chooses to keep sharing after they've had some people say no thank you. And you did. You had several people, that they maybe listened, but they weren't interested, or they were interested, but they didn't follow through with it. And I'm just really proud of you for saying, well, no, I'm just going to be consistent. And that consistency paid off. And here you are. And I could see you in that red jacket in no time at all, which is super exciting, because the fun thing is, since my mom is not a director yet, she doesn't have any red jackets in her unit yet. So you could be her first red jacket. And there's a couple ladies who also have some consulting on their team. So you'll have to be consistent. But I'm just saying, you could be her first red jacket. My mom was my first red jacket. So it's just it's fun when you get to pass it forward. So I wanted to share that with you and congratulate you. I will let you go. We're just like full 5 minutes over. I tried really hard to keep it to 30 minutes, but I really appreciate you being able to hop on during the day. And I will be doing this every Thursday, unless there's some sort of weird exception, I'll announce it. But we'll do this every Thursday for about 5 weeks. Every week I'll cover some new topic that you may already know some about, but it'll be like, oh, okay, so that's like the nitty gritty. Here's how to coach a party. Here's how to share the opportunity. So I'll go a little bit more in depth on a lot of these things that I just kind of touched the surface of. So okay, awesome. Well, have a great rest of your day, and I
You
will
too.
see you
Good to see you.
later. Bye.
Bye.